really feel that I've made radio great again here in Fort Dodge. Anyway, Senator Jesse Green is on the phone with us. How are you, Senator?
Hey, pretty good. How about you, Mike?
I'm real good. How's it feel to be called Senator? Is that kind of a deal?
Oh, it's a good feeling to be on this side and be getting to work and start committee meetings, and it feels like the real deal now.
Yeah, you're on a lot of committee meetings, and we'll talk about, or excuse me, you're on a lot of committees, and we'll talk about that just in a moment. But I did see you and other Republicans. I didn't see a whole lot of Democrats during the governor's speech here a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, and started texting you and Senator Scrappy, or Representative Scrappy over in Calhoun County. What did you think of the governor's speech?
I thought it was a great speech, one of hope, and just she laid out a great vision for how we can become better through this. When you talk to different people about the current state of affairs, most people always say, hey, we want to come back to normal. But let's not come back to normal. Let's find our weaknesses that the COVID pandemic has brought our eyes to, and let's become better. And that was my big takeaway from the speech.
Yeah, she talked about a little about the environment. What is your position on the environment?
Well, I would assume you would mean in regards to the 1 cent sales.
Yes, exactly. Which was passed but never collected.
Yes. Well, that was one of the curveballs of the speech because I thought that was one simple way to address many issues. We would have had tax relief on income tax and property tax, and get mental health funding on the general fund, and fund our water quality initiatives and stuff. But so when she talked about that, I was personally kind of taken aback. I'm like, well, I got to kind of reassess the situation from a legislative standpoint, and kind of wrap my mind around exactly where she wants to take us in mental health and stuff. But she did say that she wanted $15 million in new funding this year, and as well as next year. And this is my first year on the HHS committee, or any committee for that matter, and I'm still trying to grasp exactly what that means in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, Senator Jesse Green is our guest. This is his first few days as a senator, as a matter of fact. I've always heard, well, actually, I'll quote the great conservative columnist Robert Novak. He said the Republicans were put on earth to cut taxes. That's their sole function. Is that how you see it?
Well, we need, we're always going to have taxes. So it's the right kind of taxes and the fairest taxes. And as from my Republican mindset, I don't like property tax. I don't like income tax. I don't like inheritance tax. I think the most fair tax is sales tax. So when the governor, as let's say a year ago, where I wasn't even thinking about running for, state senate, just from a normal citizen's point of view, when she came out with her Invest in Iowa Act initiative, instantly I was like, yeah, this makes sense, because it lines up philosophically with how it would work.
Your phone skipped just a little bit during that last couple of sentences, Jesse. Would you repeat that, please?
Well, last year, looking at it from a standpoint of, I didn't realize I was going to be running for the Senate a year ago, and when I first heard Reynolds come out with her Invest in Iowa Act, philosophically that lined up with my view of taxes. Taxes is a necessary thing, and sales tax is, I believe, the most fair tax out of all of them.
Well, you're a farmer, so you're just philosophically opposed to property tax all the way. What is the tax on an acre of ground?
On ours, I looked up here a couple months ago. I believe mine was on one of mine was $24 an acre.
Well, that's not ridiculously high, is it, Jesse?
No, it's not. But I just think property taxes are easy to get out of hand. They've doubled in the last 20 years, and I I just think that there's a more fair way to tax citizens than their property.
So you say property taxes have doubled in the last 20 years. There's all kinds of property. Are you talking commercial property or agricultural property, residential property? Did all of these things double in the last 20 years?
The average of all property taxes.
The average of all property taxes. Okay. Well, Governor Branstad cut commercial property taxes while he was still governor, which was been 4 or 5 years ago. Well, about 4 years ago, I guess, when he went to be an ambassador to China for us. I would think then that commercial property tax, especially, that rate would, or the revenue from commercial property would be significantly reduced. Do you have any information on that or not? I'm not trying. I'm not trying to play stump the senator here, Jesse. But
no, well, that would be easy to do with me. But no, I don't have any information on that.
All right. Okay. So your farm is where now?
So I farm just east of Harcourt. That's where my ancestors came 5 generations ago.
That's great.
Right after the Civil War. Yep.
Right after the Civil War. Outstanding. Where did you go to school, Jesse?
So I went to school at, I started out at Southeast Webster.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2nd grade, I went to community Christian school through 8th grade. They don't have a high school, so I wound up going back to Southeast Webster for high school. And I didn't have the opportunity to go to college at that time. My grandma's health was failing, and so I felt it was better for me to stay at home. And I just recently, a couple years ago, enrolled and started taking some college classes online.
Well, it's always a good idea. I'll be 69 years old next month, and I think I think learning it makes you a better person. I just do it. You should never stop learning is really what my mantra is. If you stop learning, stop reading, stop trying to understand, you're in big trouble. Especially if you're an older person. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Our guest is Senator Jesse Green, who again has started his first term in the Iowa Senate just a few days ago, as a matter of fact. So is there anything else you'd like to say about taxes and your position on taxes?
Well, I can kind of give you a grasp of things I'm excited about this year. I'm on the Ways and Means Committee. And the overall view of taxes this year is let's figure out how to simplify the tax code. And by that, you're going to see probably an attempt to get rid of a lot of tax credits and return those to the taxpayer in the form of tax cuts of some sort. So that's kind of the lingo that's flying around the Capitol at this time, but which I'm all for.
Can you give us an example of the type of tax credits you're talking about?
Well, if I think right now it's fair to say that we have about 400. I think the number was 400 million in tax credits in the states, and we have the 2nd highest usage of tax credits in the nation, and that's just not very business friendly. Is there a tax that you would raise across the entire spectrum? A tax that I would raise?
Yes.
Not without some form of a relief somewhere else.
Okay. All right. So
yep.
If a tax was raised, then there would have to be a cut of equal amount somewhere else.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jesse Green's our guest. This is AM 1400. KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'd ask you to call in, but Jesse's on the only line I have here. So you can't call right now. We'll get you in here later in the week sometime with Cranbrink and Ann Meyer. And we'll see how that'd go. Probably 3 on a mic, 3 on the 2 mics I have in here is maybe too much. So maybe we can get you all on the same day or something. But anyway, we could have an open phone then. I don't think Tim and Ann get that many calls. Now, when Sexton's here, we get calls. As long as I'm thinking of Sexton, what is your position on pork production in the state of Iowa? Do we have enough pork facilities? Should we look at stopping the permits? Should we be cutting back? What is your position on pork production in the state of Iowa?
Well, I got to look at it from Webster County's point of view. I got to look at my constituents first, and if we limited more of how we of the distance from an acreage, for example, to where a hog confinement could be built, if we limit that anymore, you can just pretty much count on Webster County being done building any more hog confinement. So I got to represent my constituents, and I believe that would be disastrous for Webster County.
So we should continue to build hog confinements? Is there any restrictions that you'd look for in Webster County?
I'm not for any more restrictions than what already exists.
Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah. Greg Horr would be all over you if you started thinking about shutting down hog confinements. I'll tell you that. Have you ever met Greg?
Greg, yes. Yeah. Great man.
Oh, yeah. He's a great, him and his wife are, and I knew both of his sons, and they're, a great family. But Greg is pork. I haven't been able to get him in here recently, but
Yeah.
He is a pork producer. There is no doubt. So, Jesse, regarding social issues, certainly guns are always in the headlights of the Democrats. The Democrats would like to curb our right to carry. They would like to roll back gun sales in the state of Iowa. What is your position?
Well, I'm a firm protector of the Second Amendment. I can't wait for one of my votes this year to be on the Second Amendment language to our Constitution. I believe we're one of 5 states that don't have it. And that'll be a proud moment for me to push the yes button on that amendment to allow people to vote on that and get it in our Constitution. I wish we were a constitutional carry state with the option of a permit.
Mm-hmm.
And I only say that so that if our citizens want to go to another state, that they would be more freely to do so without having fear of getting in trouble.
Do you think there will be a constitutional amendment to the state of Iowa's constitution that would do just that? I mean, do you have the votes in the House and Senate? Is Governor Reynolds supportive of that?
As far as the current Second Amendment language that has been discussed and passed once already in one assembly, I see no hurdles over that. As far as the constitutional carry, I'm not sure exactly what that process would look like to get that through, but I would imagine if there's ever a time for it to go, it's going to be now. And so I hope it does get pushed.
Do you favor the right to carry firearms in the state capitol?
Yes, I'm for that.
Okay. Recently, a group of people opposed to wearing a mask showed up in the state capitol protesting that mandatory masking requirements were unconstitutional or illegal. I really don't know what their reasoning was, but I know they made the trip. And for some reason, masking is still a big deal with some folks. What is your position on mandatory masking in the state of Iowa?
Wherever I go, if leadership said, "Hey, we want you guys to do it," I'll respect everybody's opinion on it. But if local municipalities want to have a mandate, if counties want to have a mandate, I'm all for local control. Now, where it gets tricky is in enforcement. I think that's where they're breaking the law on that. But from my limited knowledge on the issue, but I'm all for local control and local decisions on those matters.
Okay, yeah. Fort Dodge here, we tried to have a mandatory masking here, and we ran into some sort of trouble with enforcement. I don't really know what it is, but personally, because of my experience, I was very ill with COVID last fall, as you probably know. I've told everybody else in the world. But I was very ill with COVID, and I've become a mask advocate. Now, I understand that there are those who worry about overreaching government, and that's always my concern. The very definition of freedom is just being left alone by the government. That's my personal definition. Just leave us the hell alone and stop nagging.
Yeah.
But I have come to see the COVID virus has a sinister and deadly force in our, and I hope I'm not being too dramatic, but a sinister and deadly force in our state and our communities. And we have to do something, all of us, to fight it. And I don't think standing in the state capitol complaining about not wearing a mask or not is fighting it properly.
I kind of misunderstood that protest. I thought it was more anti-vax, VA vaccine.
It was, but but they did not want to mask either. They, as I recall, they were not wearing masks in the Capitol Rotunda. But it was mainly anti-vax, but it was the mask thing too, and because that's kind of a hot button with me, masking. I naturally brought it up. But as long as we're on the, I was going to go to vaccines anyway, so let's talk about when we can get our vaccines here to Webster County, and your district particularly. Is there any way we can speed this up a little bit? Or there have been complaints that people who want to get vaccinated, and I'm one of them, can't get vaccinated. We need a greater sense of urgency, I guess. What can we do?
Well, the only answer I can give to this topic is I have one business and camp in my district that is trying to prepare for the upcoming season. I just submitted their inquiry to staff to get more educated on this, and I feel bad, but I just can't really add much to the COVID or vaccine conversation.
Okay, so we really don't. I know that some have been vaccinated. The primary care givers, of course, Ann Meyer, and I don't know about Tim, I didn't ask him, but Ann Meyer and some of the legislators have been vaccinated. Will you get vaccinated, Senator?
I have not felt inclined to, and I don't think I will, but at this time, that's my position.
Could you share with us your reasons for refusing a vaccination?
I guess I don't know if it'd be much of a benefit or not. For my sake, I'd rather see other people get vaccinated that need it, older people, and I figured I'm young and healthy, and I've been kicked so many times by a horse. I think I'll be all right with COVID.
Hey, if you want to give up your place in line to me, I'll be right there, pal.
Okay.
Do you work with a lot of horses out there on the farm, or is that just a hobby? Or
excuse me?
Do you work with a lot of horses out there on the farm?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My job is in latter years been more to bale hay and stuff, but my favorite thing is to pull sleighs. And this coming Saturday, there's a couple elderly folk that are fighting cancer that have never been on a sleigh ride, and that's kind of their life. One of their life dreams is to do it. So I look forward to Saturday being able to do that for them. And I have fun with them once in a while, but most of the time it's work. But
you got to get together with Sheriff Fleener. He loves that lifestyle. I don't think he likes horses, using horses in the way that you do, but I know he's helped us. He's helped us a lot. Has he?
And I served with him on the Dayton Rodeo Committee. So
yeah.
Yep.
I always knew it was time for the Dayton Rodeo when Luke came in the studio. He'd set up a time with the rest of the radio stations to come in and talk Dayton Rodeo every now and then. And as soon as he came in the door, I'd tell him, Luke, must be rodeo time.
Well, I'm so proud of Luke, and looking back, he served I think over 10 years on the rodeo committee, and he did that while also having a full-time job. And after I went through being committee chair for a few years, it just really grew my appreciation for Luke and all he did. I'm so happy that he's sheriff in Webster County because he's got the right personality, and he's a great leader. Yeah,
I think so too. I think we made a great choice with Luke. The young man who ran against him, I think his time is coming, but I voted for Luke this time around, and I don't regret. That's one vote I don't think I'll ever regret. Anyway, Senator Jesse Green has been our guest. Is there anything you'd like to say as we close?
Well, I just welcome constituents' conversations. We're still just slowly getting into things. So if people have issues, call me up, and my number is 351-9761. I got some fun little bills that's going to be coming through. I got a meeting actually in 1 minute about the bottle bill and in particular, and I've got a couple. I ran my first subcommittee meeting this morning. That was a lot of fun.
Look out!
So anyway, just proud to represent you guys, and I'm here to serve you, and so feel free to reach out.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you about the bottle bill. Can you, just before we go here, can you give us briefly what's going to happen with the bottle bill? Or what you would like to see happen, perhaps?
This isn't the first time that this is going to be an issue, and I see some light at the end of the tunnel with this, maybe with the 7-cent bottle bill, double the handling fee, bring the nickel, unredeemed nickel back to the state potentially. I think there's room for compromise here, but it's going to be a tricky issue, but I'm really excited about it, and I want to get something done.
Well, I really hope we can get private enterprise involved, find some way for people to open a store and make a living doing that. That's the reason we have a problem. The big grocery stores hate that bottle bill, of course, as it exists now. And I don't blame them. I mean, they got to set off a whole room to deal with those bottles, and it's not always pleasant. So I hope we can get private enterprise. The free market, Jesse. I hope we can get that involved. All right. Yes, sir.
Hate to let you go, but the meeting's started.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Jesse Green has been our guest. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
The mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, that's absolutely correct. This is AM 1400 KVFD. It's 3:32.
Are you considering new floor coverings for your home? You've browsed the big box and do-it-yourself stores, but have reservations about style, design, and installation? Well, fret no more. This is Dean Sternberg with Jim's Carpet One. Let the professional staff at Jim's Carpet One eliminate the pressure by making sure you get it right the very first time. Their team of experts, including interior designers and professional installers, will work with you from start to finish. Whether you're just considering a new...
Hi, it's Mike. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is Mike.
Hi. You were talking about the bottle bill?
Yep.
But you know, the grocery stores don't want them, but then they should not charge the deposits for them.
Well, right now they got to, because they are being forced to handle them. You're right, of course. I just wish there was some way, again, somebody could open a little store or something where a person could make a living handling them.
Well, I thought we had a couple places that you could.
Yeah, well, they're not making any money doing that. I don't know.
Well, that was just my thought, the darn grocery stores, but they sure want that deposit. Okay.
Hey, thanks for calling.